All right, welcome everyone. This is a Viper Professional Training and Support webinar. Today's date is Wednesday, April 20th, 2016, and the title of tonight's webinar is ViperTools and how to use them to trade. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading rooms, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, Forex trading, any kind of financial instrument involves risk. So therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar, other webinars we might have, our live trading rooms, or anything else with Viper Trading Systems should ever be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? All right, if not, we're going to go ahead and get started here, okay? All right, bear with me a second. What I'm going to show you right now, this is going to get really basic, okay? But I'm going to show you just basically where we start at Viper Trading Systems, okay? We've had people ask us all the time, you know, do you use guidance charts and things like that? Well, everything is built into our indicators to give us guidance, and that's important because we use a very quick chart called a four-range, basically a four-range tick chart. That means that every single bar on here is 4 ticks. It doesn't deviate from that. They're not Renko bars or anything like that. They're 4-tick bars. Okay? Now, that'd be pretty hard to trade, I would think. Although, you know, some of you that we've taught for years, you could do pretty well at it, but it would be better if you knew, you know, what direction it's going and things like that when it changes. So we offer all that in our indicators. Okay? Now, if you'll pull up your indicators by going to right click and simply go to indicators, you'll get the same list I've got right here. Now recently we've changed the name of our indicators to Object Trader, and that's basically so that they all show up in this area. They used to be called Breakout this, Breakout that, and then we had some Viper Lightning and things, and that was a little confusing. So everything that's with us right now is Object Trader and then the name of the indicator, all the way down to True Trend. Now there is one caveat to that. There is another indicator that is called the VIP Dynamic Trend. We can't change the name of that one, so that's going to stay that way, and it's down the list, and I'll show it in just a little bit. Okay? Now, what I'm going to show you right off, and I'm going to try to make this flow very smoothly, but it is going to take some time because I want to show you what we've actually done here. All right, first off, when you get your four-range chart up, you need to be able to know somewhat a direction of what the trade is doing. Okay, so we designed these bar colors, and if you notice in your indicators, it says Object Trader Bar Color and maybe even Object Trader Bar Color MTF, which stands for multiple time frames. Okay, if you use a four-range chart, you can use this one. Now, I personally use the MTF because I like to personally put, you know, a 4-range on there, but I might change it to like a 5-range or something if I wanted to. Okay, this you can change by simply doing that. You go to your indicators, you scroll down to Object Trader Bar Color MTF, and what I like to have mine set on always is this 4-range. You can change the colors of your bars to anything you want. You know, you can choose that, and then you can even right-click and set it as your default. Now, with Viper, we've usually used blue for up bars, red for down bars, and gold for neutral bars. And then you want to set the intensity at about, well, all the way up. It makes the bars a lot crisper. Okay, so once we put these bars on the chart, okay, that starts giving us a little bit more to look at, right? Now, if you've looked at our book that is on our website, being a member, we've got a trade that we've taught for years called the Yellow Bar Probe, okay? And the way the Yellow Bar Probe works, you know, for instance, this is a downtrend so far, right? Well, this would be a Yellow Bar Probe probably back in the mid-band, and you can kind of draw trend line, box it in, or whatever you want to do, right? But this doesn't really give you the overall picture as of yet. But this is the bar colors. Now, I'm going to explain the difference in the bar colors real quick. If you were going with a downtrend, of course, you'd have red bars and possibly some yellow ones, but you'd also have some blue ones if it goes deeper, okay? Now, on the opposite side of that coin, if you were going up, you would have some blue bars pull back with, yellow bars, and then possibly even red bars for a deeper retracement or a trend change. Okay, so that's number one on your chart, is that bar color right there. All right, that's staple with Viper for the last 8 years. All right, next what you want to look at is your background. Okay, we've kept this particular background for a long time. Just use Object Trader Background MTF, and you'll simply go to your indicators. And we've got templates, by the way, and I'm going to show that here in just a minute. But be sure that you're not set on 1 minute. This is what NinjaTrader defaults at. I get a lot of people saying my colors are different. Be sure to check that, because that needs to be on range 4. Okay, and then you can even right click and set it as your default. Okay, and we'll go ahead and put that on. All right, now this is pretty much telling us, at least at this time, we've been in a little bit of a downtrend, but this is, you know, transition background here, this is an up background here, and this is a red background here. Okay, and that's what those backgrounds are for. But see, this still doesn't give you everything that we have in our indicators and everything to really help you make the decision of how to trade it. Okay, but that's really important that you know about the colored bars, the background. If you don't like backgrounds, take it off. There's some of our people that don't like backgrounds. They'll just take that background off. I wouldn't recommend taking the bar colors off myself, because when we're in the room, we're going to say, you know, that this is a mid-band yellow bar probe and, you know, for instance, a nice short. Okay. All right. So we've gone through the bar color and the background colors. Okay. Now, if you look on here, you have some others like, you know, for instance, there's even a background that's a guidance background. That's not even necessary unless you want to use it, but you can actually pull up a guidance background and tell it that you want to have a background set on like an 8-range chart. You know, we have a certain template we use every day though, and you don't really need to deviate from it because we call trades right there on that chart. Okay. All right. Now, let's go ahead and go down the list and see what would be important to put on this chart, because I like a particular good-looking template that I can trade each and every day. All right. So let's go through the list here. We've got Object Trader a priori swing, and somebody says, well, Gary, what does that a priori swing mean? Well, that particular one is built for the 4-range chart. This one is built for any chart. Okay, so in other words, I could have a 4-range chart but still have 12-range guidance on that chart. And that's really important because that particular little swing indicator we keep on the chart with a 12-range and a 5 swing strength. And I usually like to put my dots in a certain color. And by the way, you can even have a display lines if you want to also. I transparent mine out on my template, but if you want to see lines on your chart, you can change those from transparent to a color. And where those numbers show up, it'll actually draw a little line out to the side. Okay, so, you know, set that the way you want it, but the way we have it in the room is 12 range, 5 swing strength, and seems to work quite well. All right, so we'll put that on our chart. Okay, notice those little swings there. Okay. All right, so now we've gone through the a priori swing, the background, and the bar colors. Now we do have fibs on here also. I think everybody knows about the fibs. All you simply do is go down and put your fibs on. They're auto fibs. You simply put it on your chart, click OK, and you'll notice that you'll automatically display your fibs for the particular page. Let me just go ahead and click this for a second so we can see the whole thing. Okay. Now, if I was looking back here, for instance, see how that'll automatically adjust my fibs accordingly? You know, can that be important? Well, look at this thrust up and it pulls right back into 50% and then bounces and almost gets that top again. Okay. So those fibs can be important too. I don't personally use them. You know, you certainly can. And wherever you move that chart, they're going to automatically adjust. Okay. You can even choose to display the fibs or display current fibs, either way. You know, this is actually display. This is current fibs, all fibs for the entire session. And then you've got even just your session fibs too. I personally use the current fibs because that means whatever's on the chart is what it's calculating the fibs. Okay, if you squeezed up the chart, for instance, like we had a second ago, see how it automatically just does whatever's shown? Okay, but as you move it around, see that it adjusts those fibs. Okay, and then you kind of know where they're heading and kind of where they'll bounce. All right, now I'm going to take the fibs off because I don't personally use those. I like them, but in the room where we're trading, they're a little noisy for me. Okay, so we won't worry about object trader guidance background or even guidance lines. You know, that's actually kind of like the VIP dynamic trend. You do have that in your indicator. I'd recommend just using the VIP dynamic trend. The object trader horizontal lines is actually the label that you put on your lines. Now let's first put on our toolbar. Our toolbar is important because I like to be able to draw on charts and everything. And that, it's not our indicator or anything. It's just, you know, something we've had for years, but I like it because you can just click on the horizontal line. Notice that's just a horizontal line is all. Okay, but if I want labels on there, I just simply put this on my chart, and that's an indicator. And you just simply go down to Object Trader Horizontal Lines. And you can even choose the font size on it. You can choose to whether it's on the right or the left, above or below the line, just whatever you like, and then set it as your default. Okay, once you apply that, you'll notice that your lines actually have the numbers on them. I like that because as I move them, it's perfect. The only thing I would like better about it is if you get halfway in between a tick, so to speak, you know, like on NASDAQ, you can't really have a 41.375. It has to be either, you know, 41 and a half or 41 and a quarter. So if you see us saying, you know, 41 and a half and you see the lines at 41.375 or whatever, you know that it's just off by, you know, just like a smidgen. Okay, but it's still an important line to use. Okay, and I like that. Now, this is starting to build the chart that you have the template on the website because this is what I put on my charts. Okay, so let's go ahead and go down. Now, the Object Trader identified swings, long-term and minor, is really no more than the Object Trader a priori swing that you can choose anything you want anyway. This is just some little ellipses we made, you know, a couple of years ago that would show on the chart. You know, you can use them if you want. I'll show you what they look like. We'll go down to Object Trader Identified Swings Minor. That's like green and red. You can change it to any color you want. I don't personally like red. I usually use like green and white. Right click and set it as default if I use it at all. And that actually puts these little ellipses on the chart. See those? That's only looking at these little minor swings. Thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace. Breaks these swings and it gives you that little ellipse. Breaks the swing, gives you the ellipse. Breaks swings, gives you the ellipse. Breaks it again, and then it's starting to break to the downside. Okay? That's just these little ellipses right here. All right, now you have a longer term ellipse on here also. This one's called the Object Trader Identified Swings LT, which is long term. And that's not one that I personally use, but you can certainly set it the way you want it. It doesn't do MTF, like multiple time frames. So for instance, this is set on a swing strength of 25 and a tick offset of 8, and you'll see where it kind of prints. That's where we defaulted it. Let's see if we can see something. See there? A little bit larger swings. See them right there? It's up to you if you want to use them. They're there for your convenience if you do. All right. I like mine a certain template, so I don't really use these particular ones right here. Okay, now coming up, you've got Object Trader Lightning 1, 2, and 3. Now yours does not say MTF yet, where this says MTF on here. That's multiple time frame Lightning. That's coming out just very shortly, but I actually want to add one more to it. Okay, and my guy's been just a tad busy, and I've got to get him to do that. Okay, but the Object Trader Lightning 1, 2, and 3, you want to put on your chart, and like I say, we've got templates on the website, but I like Lightning 1 just simply set on a 4-range bar, which yours doesn't have the choice right now, but that's what it'll be set on, obviously, and a 1 swing strength. That's just a real quick little zigzag. All right, then Lightning 2, you want to actually put Lightning 2 on like a 2 swing strength, and I don't personally at a 2 swing strength ever show the numbers, because you're going to have so many numbers on your chart you won't believe it, but they're there if you want to use them. Okay, if you're like a real fast trader or something like that and want to look for these swing breaks. And number 3, we like to use a 15 range. Actually, that's a 12, pardon me. I don't know why that's set it, pardon me. That should be 12, not 15. Let's see here. Oh, I've got to change it here. There we go. Like that. All right. And that's your Lightning. Now, on the Lightning 3, I do like to show the dots and the numbers. So in other words, when you put this on your chart, it's going to show these white numbers and the navy blue numbers. Okay. It's virtually the same thing as the a priori swing. Okay, but it draws lines, so you don't really need this once we put this other one out. You can actually just remove that and leave this one on, and then that'll actually virtually do the same thing, except you can then draw the lightning between the swings where you couldn't do it before. See, if I do control, see, did I set it yet? Bear with me a second. Lightning 3 is on control, Lightning 2 is on shift, Lightning 1 is on Alt, so that should do it. So I'm going on control, and there we go. There's your lightning swings. You could draw it from over here too if you wanted to. Okay, that's your larger term lightning swings that way, and you'll get this indicator very shortly. All right, now don't pay any attention. I get asked this all the time. What are Object Trader lines? What's Object Trader Manager? Those are part of Object Trader. Okay, that's what puts the lines on the chart for your targets, your stops, things like that. It's an indicator that it calls up. Object Trader Manager is just simply that. It just manages the Object Trader. Okay, now we don't use math on ours, but some people have used this. This is actually like a Murray math. You can simply choose it if you like. Some of our traders do use it. Object Trader Math, double click, and it draws these Murray math lines. See there? Now, I don't personally see that much out of it, you know, because we've got so much better indicators now than in the past, like these right here. So I don't really use the Murray math. It's up to you. We left it in the suite of indicators for people that want it. Okay, we'll go ahead and close that out. Now, Money Shade basically kind of got done away with, so to speak, when Object Trader became so popular. But if you want to use Money Shade, it's actually a chart trader that will trade with a line. So in other words, if you want to trade this, you just simply go and put the indicator on your chart. I always like to put Money Shade 1 first. This one calculates on bar close false, so it just means something just needs to touch the line and doesn't have to go through it. Money Shade 2 is set to bar close true, and that means it has to actually go through it, either short by going through it to the low side or long by going through it to the upside. All right, and once you put this on your chart, basically, then you're able to use these little lines on your chart. Now, I'd have to go all the way to the edge to show it, so I'm not going to really show Money Shade tonight, but you just simply use a line on your chart. And let's say, for instance, if I wanted to trade right across there, If this was the end of my chart, that is. Program Skype. Skype keeps trying to do something to me there. Bear with me a second. Inbound Skype. Okay, turn it off. How about? Well, I'll tell you what. Give me a second. I'll turn Skype off. Bear with me 1 second. I'll sign out because I've got it on another computer anyway. That'll take it away. Maybe. Oh, what are you doing, McAfee? Oh, that's not even McAfee. That's Malwarebytes. Anybody else know how to get rid of that? Why is it coming up? Well, let's just put this on top and it won't bother us anymore. Let's see here. Drawing always on top. That should get rid of it, hopefully. All right. What does 5 swing strength mean, Mindy? That's a very good question. 5 swing strength simply means that you're looking at bars. For instance, if we were looking at 5 strength here, bars never go up or down just straight up. You know, for instance, if you had a 4-range bar, another 4-range on top, another 4-range on top, it doesn't happen like that. It's usually like this: bar, 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 bar. That's a 5 strength swing right there in that little area right there, like that. That's actually basically a 5 swing strength, and once it breaks that, then you would actually be, you know, breaking like to the upside above that little swing there. That's all that's checking for. Now on a 12-range chart, it would be different, obviously. You know, if this was on a 12-range chart, let's just go ahead and change it to 1. You got a very good question there. Bear with it a second. All right, a 12-range chart, what it does is it actually would be virtually the same thing, but 5 swing strength would be, for instance, these candles are totally side by side. You know, this would be more like a 5 strength when it actually starts breaking up above it. You know, it's actually looking at all these candles, and then it gives you these numbers. Okay, that's the best way I know how to explain it, because a bar just doesn't do this, you know, where they just climb right on top of each other like that. You know, where you're actually getting a 4-range, a 4-range, a 4-range, a 4-range, a 4-range. Very seldom anyway. And that's all that does, is just looks for that strength. Okay, let's go back to the 4. All right, I will show money shade here in just a little bit. Okay, we'll have to get to the end of the chart to do that, and I will show that in just a minute. Bear with me a second. I'm going to show some of this other first. Bear with me 1 second. I want to get right back to where I was. It was about 8 o'clock in the morning. Bear with me just a second. My chart's not going really fast. Okay. All right, now let's go through the other. The Object Trader plots, by the way, that's actually just part of Object Trader also. Okay, so you don't really need that. The one reason that we put this template on our website, if you go to, I'm on top of this right now, just 1 second. We'll go ahead and change this back to, instead of always on top. If you go to the member login and click in, I'm going to go ahead and log in under my deal to here, just 1 second. All right, and we'll log in. Now, if you go to the members part of our website, you're going to always notice that we do have a template and a workspace for a single monitor. Now we don't know if you've got 6 monitors, 8 monitors, 4 or 2 or 1. So we just simply did a workspace with 1 monitor. But there's a template here also that if you ever don't have the proper charts and everything, just simply click this little zip file. It'll download that template and workspace. You just simply put them in the path of Documents, NinjaTrader 7, Templates, Chart. Okay? And that would be for your template itself right there. If you wanted a workspace, you could actually do it under Documents, NinjaTrader 7, and then there's a workspace folder. You just drop it in. Okay? All right, let's see where we at. Now, we're coming to Predictor right now. Now, Predictor is actually a new indicator that's been added to Viper, and I'll show you what it looks like. We'll go ahead and get rid of this chart trader for a minute. Predictor, what you want to do as a rule, you want to go ahead and use the one with the MTF. If you're doing a 4-range chart, this one is fine, but it doesn't give you the opportunity to do the multiple time frame charts. We just put both indicators in there because this indicator has to support this one. Okay, but if you want Predictor on here, what I recommend is 4-range chart like that, and then just simply click OK. And that'll give you your Predictor. Bear with it a second. I'll get rid of the chart trader again. Notice how this Predictor is pretty solid, by the way, because to give an example, let's say without even some of my other indicators, look at this thrust up and it pulls right back into Predictor, and then you get a nice 10-tick trade. This, as long as they're green and blue, you're in a long trend. As soon as they turn to the magenta and white, you're more in a downtrend. So obviously in a downtrend, you'd sell this Predictor, okay? And in an uptrend, you would buy this Predictor. And you just wait for it to come down to one of them. Now, when they go through a Predictor like it's doing right there, then more than likely, you're very possibly going to get a trend change. Just got to watch for it. This one happened to bounce off this Predictor instead. Okay? So that's the Predictor scripts, and you can hide them just by simply clicking to hide. Okay? Now, Object Trader Profit and Loss, that's part of Object Trader Strategy. Object Trader Quick Trend, when you get your scripts next, we're going to change that back to Object Trader Stealth because everybody knows what Stealth is. We've called that for too many years to change it. I was kind of dumb in doing that one. Anyway, the Quick Trend is just simply the old Stealth. And that gives you the red and green, where basically on your chart it's going to have little areas where it's open. So you'll notice that it kind of opens when it's taken out. See where it just takes it out and it opens it up. And it gives you pretty predictive of which way the chart's actually trying to head. You know, a lot of people actually will wait for the first thrust and then they'll wait for a stealth to come back. You know, and that's not a bad trade. It probably would have come back right on that bar or possibly that bar. I'd have to look at it. Okay, that's that little indicator right there. Now, you got what we call swing high low. Charles likes these on his charts. I'll show you what it looks like. I'm going to get rid of some of these that we don't use just real quick. I'm going to get rid of Money Shade 1 and 2 for a minute, because these others I like on my charts. Make sure the chart comes up right. Yeah, okay. Now, this other indicator here that I was going to show you is called the swing high low. And like I said, Charles likes that particular one. This is right here. And it basically draws these swings on your chart as prices make these little swings. And you can tell a lot of times when those swings draw out for a while that, you know, basically you're getting these trend changes and things. See how they'll draw these little areas right here. You know, they'll draw the tops of them and things like that. Charles likes to actually use those. See where it thrusts up and pulls right back into one. But Predictor will do that for you too. Okay, so I don't personally use those. It's up to you on that. All right, let's go down to time regions. Now that is one of my favorite indicators right there. Time regions is really important in my personal opinion anyway, because I set them up every day on my charts. And the way you set them is by your particular time zone. You can set them to be like a box that's 8 ticks, which all this means when it says zone offset of ticks, that just means that if you have like a 4-range chart, basically it's going to go 4 range from the bottom of it and 4 range from the top. So that's going to be an 8-tick range. It just splits a bar is what it does. So if you had like an 8-range chart and you had, 4 set on it, it would still be the same 8-range bar because it takes the middle of that bar. But if you set it on 5, for instance, on an 8, you would have a 10-tick. You could basically just say double that, and that's the size of my box. That's the best way to remember that. All right, and always remember, just like a 24-hour clock, you have to use the little colon in the middle. You can't just do 0. That won't print a single one of them if you do that. Okay, so always, for instance, if I want 7:59 in the morning, 07:59, make sure you're on the proper date. Make sure you want the box size that you want, and of course, you can even control your colors. Okay, and that's how easy that is to use. We use these for the high energy times because the open of the market I like. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean you just have to trade it when it breaks the top of the box or the bottom of the box. Always look at your swings, draw trend lines, things like that. Okay, but this does give you a real good representation of where markets open and things like that. Let's see. Diane says, isn't there a command for Ninja that will automatically arrange your charts perfectly like you have in the room for a single monitor? I don't know on that, Diane. You might look that up and let me know. I am not sure. Okay, so that time region will obviously just draw a little box on your, but you see it every day in the room, so I won't go over that a lot. Okay, now the toolbar I went ahead and put on here at first because I like that toolbar on here. If you don't like all the shapes and things like that, just go in the indicator and take some of them off. Toolbar, it shows channels, fibs, lines, markers, shapes. If you don't like markers, to give an example, change it to false, and then it'll get rid of some of those that are on the side here. If it loads, that is. There we go. Okay, so just do that the way you like it. All right, let's see here. Trail stops, I personally don't use. It's up to you. We even have trail stop guidance, but I like the VIP dynamic trend better. But I'm going to show you these anyway, just so you'll see what they are on your chart. Object Trader trail stops are simply price-oriented trail stops on your chart, and you'll see right where they are. Just these little trail stops. Charles uses these quite a bit. See these blue that are under here? And then it starts going with the red and everything. Okay, those are just trail stops that are kind of following this price up. To me, that gets a little noisy. I don't use them. Years ago, we used to use one called guidance, trail stops guidance, because you could choose the bar size that you wanted, because this is actually an MTF indicator also. You just simply choose the bar size you want it to do the guidance on. So for instance, if I wanted long with this little blue here and the purple here, like on a 12-range chart, for instance, I can simply just click it and you'll see these dots show up underneath. See, this is actually, see how this is like a 12-range chart. See how it's stepping down, stepping sideways. That's like guidance, but you'll notice the dynamic trend because I'm going to put that on next, and that indicator will really make a difference of where you take the trades. Okay, so I don't personally use the stops guidance. True trend is a good one though, but you want to just take basically a clean chart to use true trend, and I'm going to do that real quick. I'll show you how to use it. true trend is actually just an indicator to kind of let you draw on your charts. You know, for instance, let me just show you at the end of this day here. Right here. Let's say, for instance, if you wanted to draw a trend line like under these lows, to give an example. Well, you can actually do that. You can set like a major one. You know, for instance, here's your trend line right here. Basically, you can kind of see that. All right, and if you engage it, then that's pretty much green above there, isn't it? Okay, but what if I wanted another trend line like underneath here? Well, I can even set my minor. And then what this will do is if this goes underneath this line, these bars will turn red if I engage that. Okay, and the thing about this is it's just strictly a manual indicator just to kind of draw on a chart and give you a heads up of what's going on. Okay, I don't use that all the time, but there's times that I'll just kind of get it out of its little closet there and brush it off and use it. Let's see, Dennis says to arrange the 4 chart trade in the room, right click on taskbar and click on show windows side by side. Okay, I will remember that. All right, so that's in a nutshell all of the indicators except for the dynamic trend. Okay, now I'm going to show you the dynamic trend all by itself. It's under VIP, like it's very important. Okay, and I like mine personally just set where I've got the red, the green, the mid band, and that's the way we do the template too. If you want to see lines on all this, you can change any of this you want. But this is the way I like to personally look at it, like that. And the dynamic trend simply tells you the direction of the trend, and if it's any color of red, magenta, or rose color, it's down. If it's this lime green or blue or yellow, it's up. Now the rose and the yellow are sideways. That just means if it stays there a long time, you're really going sideways. But usually trends change and then you'll get those nice trades. Okay, so let's go ahead and lump it together and we'll put our template on, and I named the template Ultimate OT Predictor. And bear with it just a second. And I'm going to get rid of this little paint deal that we had because we don't really need it anymore. And then I want to show you some things about how to use these indicators, okay? Bear with me a second here. All right, here we go. All right, and this is more for new people because I think people that have been with us a long time, they already know this. But keep in mind that these trend changes happen pretty nicely, okay? The indicator is designed to really catch these at a good early time. Now, you notice that we do box in. You know, for instance, if Charles and I both saw this and you saw this boxed in like right through here, it never went short, it actually went long. But have you ever noticed that most of the time they'll just thrust up and they'll pull right back? It's almost irritating because you might not get in this thing till you see it right in here and then they retrace on you. Well, with our indicators, I was talking to a gentleman today, I was mentioning to everybody in the room, there are 3 trades that you can really look for that will probably make a lot of money in your trading account if you don't get too tight on your stops. The first one is this mid-band trade. The second one is the phantom trade, under certain conditions though. Don't just chase any phantom trade. Keep in mind that if this has turned to a long, your phantom's down here. If it's a short background like this over here, your phantom is all the way up here. This one never did a phantom, it just did a deep bar probe. Okay, but once they change trends again, you're looking for the mid band, you're looking for the phantom. See where that came right down to this phantom area right there? And then, of course, if you get this red background and everything, you're looking more for shorts. You're changing directions very possibly. You know, we teach that, and then down you go. Okay. Now, what you're looking for on the first trade on this next one is a mid-band trade. See, there's your mid-band trade right there. And, you know, don't just jump in, for instance, just with all four, you know, both your feet, so to speak, with all your money, and because you may just get a scalp on these, because that's actually what we consider a little deeper probe than just a red bar. Carl G, yeah, those are also for runners too. Absolutely, they'll do a good job on that. Okay, now notice that if you would have taken this particular trade at mid-band, you probably got a scalp. But you know, with something like Object Trader, you could actually take this trade, get your scalp, and if this thing busted up above it, you could be long. Okay, now I don't consider this a long trade myself until it actually takes this out. See this thrust, retrace thrust? That's pretty much what I call the line in the sand, that's going to really change directions. Okay. Now I was talking to somebody today, and I was mentioning that, you know, if you're not really tight on your stop at these mid bands, they'll usually do pretty good trades. But once you take out some of these resistance areas, and you definitely take out what we call the medium swing or something, you really want to make sure that you're going the right direction on the trade. Okay, so everybody understand this so far, right? We changed to the magenta color. We're looking for a first time in the mid band. This one scalped, but long trade worked better. Okay, now when you change to green, like this, green background and everything, you're looking for first time into mid band. See there? And notice how that just came down and kind of tested where it broke out to begin with. Always looking to the left to trade the right. What I love about the mid-band, though, and these ellipses for Predictor, see how that just nailed that trade? If you drew a line across here, to give an example, when that ellipse showed up, you know, that ellipse didn't get hit right there at all. Then this one draws, you draw your line across your ellipse, and look where it bounced off of. So you're always looking for that particular trade. And if you remember right, we even called this, remember where this came down, hit perfectly, didn't quite get up. I even had the line drawn here to take your profit. And then it came all the way back down and tested a little higher low, and then it took off. Okay? But always remember, when they change directions to the opposite direction, you're looking for that mid-band trade. Okay? Now, we've got another area called the money band. This is a really important area of the chart right here, this little golden area right here, and it goes both directions, of course. This little area right here is pretty much like we call it the money band, because it doesn't necessarily have to stop at mid-band. It can come down a little bit deeper. If it comes down deeper than the money band, it usually does between line 2 and line 1, or the opposite over here, line 6 and line 7. But I'll tell you what, I've found that when they thrust like this, if let's say that you actually got in this trade right here, and let's say, for instance, that instead of doing what it actually did, that this would have taken you out and headed on down and tested down here. Well, there's some of our people that'll stay with that trade because the trend is still up. And you kind of expect it broke out right here to begin with. See the big thrust? They might check there. And sometimes you just, you know, you get in and out of trades and you'll give more to your broker and, you know, possibly give some of your money away to begin with. Always look where they break out. And, you know, if you've got a little bit more tolerance for some pullback, you'd be surprised how much you can make sometimes, because some of these markets just go like crazy all day long. Let's see, ellipse, a general. Well, actually, Ed, on your question, the reason that we did these as ellipses is because, you know, we've done a lot of other things as kind of ellipses and circles and things like that. We could change these to literally rectangle, but I personally like them like this because I draw on the top, you know, just draw on the top of the ellipse when you see it. You would have drawn here first, okay, and you notice that that never came down to that one, and then you see another one show up, you take your line down on top of the top of the ellipse. And I usually like to draw a line too if it's with a swing. I don't see that one being with a swing except maybe that small one right there. I usually like to see if it's going to go no lower than that middle part of the ellipse. But I've also found out that if they break these ellipses to the downside, they're usually changing trends. You don't want to just take a breakout when it does it though. Okay, but a couple of the most important trades that Viper has, I do personally believe, is these box trades at mid-band, the middle mid-band type trades, and these phantom trades and these money band trades. And the money band trades, you know, you're actually looking for, see if I can find some. Now here's an example right here. You know, if this would have gotten you in, for instance, right here at this ellipse, and it went up higher, see, like that, but then it rolled over, that gets a lot of people spooked. But if you actually draw your little boxes each time, you know, you would have been drawing a box up here. Because the way this trade would have done, I'll show you here. If you were drawing boxes, to give an example, all right, and let's say that you were looking for mid-bands, so you kind of draw a line right here first, because that's a little swing, okay, and as soon as this takes out this high here, you'd be right through here, right? But it hadn't taken it out yet. Now it has. See, that's a little swing. And then you watch it. See that support right there on top of that little lightning right there, and then it goes through it. So that would be a good area to box in for a short. Okay, that way you don't have to just take it if it just happens to get up to mid-band or close to it, and then you get a bar down. Because there's nothing more irritating than getting filled on a bar down and the silly thing go 12 ticks against you, because that can cost you some money. Where really this trade was doing what? Lightning up, lightning up, lightning up, and then it broke right across there. Now if you even do the 3-bar, see where this bar went up here? So you've got an up bar, a down bar. So basically you just put your sell in just underneath this bar, okay, because that's a 1, 2, 3 reversal. Keep in mind though, a 4-range chart's a pretty small reversal. You know, you might be better waiting for it to take out support, because support is right here if you draw lightning. Do I have lightning on? Yeah, I do have lightning on the chart. See there? You got lightning right there is your support, and then this is even a little bit more support right there. But when this is magenta, you're not really looking to take this long until you get a consolidation box above mid-band. Or if, let's say for instance, let's see if we can find one. Now it changed trends, so you're looking for what? Mid-band, right? You get a nice trade. Those are pretty good trades. Like I say, there are people that are with us that as long as they meet the criteria of a true trend change, that retracement in the mid-band is pretty much worth its weight in gold. Let me show you how to look for that particular trade too. What I personally like to see if I'm trading and watching the market, let's say that you were seeing this right through here. Let me get rid of all these lines. All right, let's say this is a little double bottom, so you really don't know that this is like any kind of a breakup. And as long as this is magenta, you're really not looking for trades to the upside to begin with, right? This is like a nice downtrend. It's wanting to go to the mid-band to roll over at the time, right? And that's what you're looking for is the trade. And so you did get that when it rolled over, okay? And by the way, that's what we call a line 5 trade on a short. You know, it didn't get to mid-band. It went above mid-band, but line 5 held it and it rolled over. That's that money band trade. Pretty important to look for too. Okay, but anyway, when you see some of these areas, like let's say for instance right here, to me, you would have to literally break this to the upside, you know, for this trade to really start heading up. See how it's starting to break it to the upside? And what do you think will happen after that? It'll break to the upside and then it'll come back and kiss pretty much the same area and then give you another long trade. See how that came right up to there? Right off of what? The ellipse. Now, does it hit the ellipse exactly? No. You know, I wish it would. There's no way to ever do that. Do I ever box in trades around mid-bands? Yes, absolutely, Carl, especially at the open of the market. Because to give an example, if you were watching this right here, let's say it's 4 o'clock in the morning. If I was watching this right here, just like when we trade oil, I would not box this in personally right here, like so, simply because I've only got, 3 ticks of profit if this was to hit its head. And what if it got a lower high and then plowed it down? So to me, no, I would actually box it like this. And then when it broke that, I would get in it. But you got to be careful, because even when they break these boxes, they'll come back and check the lows. So then you'd have to put your stop underneath the swing. Okay. Anybody have any questions so far, though? Because if you watch for trend changes and those trades on those nice retracements and everything, it can really change your trading. Okay. And don't have such a tight stop, that you get taken in and out of trades all day either, because that'll eat up your account. For instance, when you break a good swing, to give an example, like right here, see where this is a low, low, low. Well, this technically, to me, right across here, would not necessarily thrill me just to go long there. But if it broke it, I would probably try it. Okay. But if you look at the thrust, retrace thrust, and then kind of just potter on down, so to speak, like we used to say, it definitely broke it when it took this out. See it right across there? And it came back and almost kissed it. See, so those aren't bad trades. They'll come right back down and kiss them. Okay, and that's why I love the mid bands. And this keeps us on the right side of the trade, and it changes plenty early to get in the trade at a good time. The only time that you won't get a really good trade on, you need a thrust and a retrace. And those V-shaped retracements that just go, 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 you don't want to wait for retracement on those, obviously. If they start taking out resistance and you see clear resistance they're taking out, grab them. But keep your stop nice and tight with lightning. Let's see, would you use the box tool at Phantom, Carl? Yes, you could use the box tool at Phantom. To give an example, let's say that you were looking right here even. Here's a Phantom right here even. And at the time, it was a first time into Phantom after trend change, right? See that right there? This is still an uptrend, blue. So what are you looking at? You're looking at boxing it in. So you could box it like right there. That's your resistance right there. And see, it took it out a little bit. You're not necessarily shorting it because it's still to the upside, right? And then, of course, as it does this, you got a little 1, 2, 3 reversal if it actually takes out that candle right there. And you got it right there on that bar close, and then you get you not much of a trade. Well, there's mid-band, so that trade would work out. You could also box, if you boxed it like right down here, to give an example, as it made that little lower level, this would have definitely got you in. Your stop would have been under here. But by then you were also red. So you'd have to be careful with this trade, because at that time, then you were red, but you still had the mid-band was yellow. As long as that mid-band is a long color, you're taking quite a chance to go against it. Remember NQ this morning where it retraced right down to Phantom? That's just a deep retracement unless it decides to break it. Now that doesn't mean that you couldn't box these little trades and get a short, okay? But keep in mind that, when they're long trends and you still have this mid-band showing the color that it's supposed to be, then obviously this is still sideways right now, right? And it's going to either break to the upside or the downside, but there's kind of your line in the sand right across there. You see it finally broke it a little bit, and then you got your trend change. So you'd be looking for what? You broke, you're looking for a retrace. Don't just take the little breaks. They don't always work. Now at openings, they work a lot better than they do this time of day. Like this right here. I would never take that trade. It's called a breakout trade. You could take, though, the trade that is actually like that, draw your trend line and everything, and you got down to your lows. Okay. Now remember, we're only in that room for 2 hours too, and obviously, let me go back to some of those times here. You'll see that the market moves quite well. Okay. Look at this right here to give an example. This was a downtrend, downtrend, phantom trade, downtrend, downtrend, right? Downtrend. And then at 8:30, they busted above this swing right here. Now, could you have taken that? Well, normally what I like to do is wait for the little thrust and retrace. I draw that in the room all the time. You want to kind of wait for this little pop up, however high it decides to go, and then the pullback as close to support as possible, and then usually you just want to hit the market order. Now, if this would have been a V-shape, it would have left me sitting. But it'll usually, even on a V-shape, it'll give some kind of little consolidation of 3 candles or so. And then you can still grab it. Okay. Now, we haven't done some actual trades tonight. I wanted to go over the indicators, how to use them. Does anybody have any questions on phantom trades, mid-band trades, or boxing in? Those 3 trades can make a big difference in your trading. Let's see, boxing in, Mindy, on your question. Well, boxing in, what you're going to really want to do, let's just give some examples over here. Let's say that you had seen this happen. Okay, you're up at 5 o'clock in the morning and you saw a huge down move. Don't jump in it here because that thrust is going to usually retrace. Okay, that's really, really important unless you watch for a little consolidation patch, and then if they break that to the downside, then yes, you might take a shot at it. But keep in mind that most times when they've thrusted down like this right here, that's a good 60 ticks or better, they're going to retrace. Okay, so what you're looking for is the retracement up to mid-band. We call those all the time. And then what you want to do is start getting ready to box it. Okay, now what I like to personally do, if a bar closes to the downside, I'll usually dip the toe on that bar. Okay, but if you look at like a 1, 2, 3 reversal, even you could get in here or even here. You know, just kind of look at your bars, and if they break, there's even a support level right there. See it right there? Little lightning. Notice how they always check them though. See how that busted that lightning? They come back and check it, and then they roll over. See what I mean? And then they do their little dance down. If you miss that one, you can box this one in. You know, you can put it there. You could box it like this. Now, I wouldn't personally, if I was looking at this chart right here and I see a thrust, a retrace, and a little thrust, I personally would be looking for this to be taken out before I would ever go long. You got to read every chart individually because to me, if I was to box that and try to get to 45, that is not much of a trade. You see what I mean? To me, if this was to really change trends, this is what I'd like to see. It would break here, probably do a phantom, and then come back and kiss on top. And then as a rule, it will go ahead and head up. That's not what happened. Okay. But that's also why I wouldn't take that trade till it took out my medium swing to the upside, because this isn't an uptrend until it does. That's your medium swing. And see, that ended up being a nice short. Okay. So that's how you box them in like that. You can also use the ray tool. You know, if you were seeing this happen in real time, you see it do a little pop, a little pullback, trying to go up, just use your ray tool, something like that, and see that would have gotten you in right there too with the ray tool. Now what I normally do with the ray tool is I use it to look at it, but I still want to get in on the swing itself. Because what if this just barely broke it and then it just popped right up? And that can happen, believe me. But look at another trade. Look at this right here. You break the, watch this. You break the bottom of the box where people get in on their little breakout trade. Like so. You're in it, right? If you drew it like that. Everybody see that? Because it closed below it. If you were using Object Trader, you'd be in it. But watch what it almost does every single time. It came back and kissed it first. See it? Right across there. It usually gives you a chance to get in but also another chance to wait for another bar to close to the downside. I see that so much that a lot of times when they break these, I'll watch for this bar to go up, and then I just simply turn my bar close to the downside on, and it'll grab that bar. But you have to be watching your bar close on Object Trader to do that. Okay? Boxing in is really good too. You just simply put your stop above the swing. Now, I wouldn't personally reverse it if I saw a swing this close to it, because that's only 6 ticks, maybe 7. And by the time you get filled on a bar close, you wouldn't have 3 ticks to go before that. And that's the downtrend, so you want to be real careful going against it. Now, if this swing was way up here instead, you know, it had just been stair-stepping down and that swing was way up here, then I would do that in a heartbeat at the mid-band. But you always got to look to the left to see where resistance is. Because to me, that is not a high risk, high reward. It's a high risk trade if this was to break up. And what if you made your box a little too small? You know, say something like that, and you barely got filled on that bar right there. Got to be careful with that too. Because Object Trader only knows to fill the trade. If you said, you know, close like, well, let's say, for instance, you had it drawn something like this at the time. Maybe you thought, hey, I'll just get this a little earlier. And you said, well, you know what, even if it breaks above here, I'm going to take it long. Well, that would fill you right there, wouldn't it? So you got to be careful. Don't make a really, really, really small box. And on a short, you want to box below the mid-band. And as a rule, on a long, you want to box above mid-band. Okay? You know, for instance, over here even, let's say that you had woken up at 5 o'clock in the morning and you saw this right here. Okay? You'd box it just above here. And I see a swing over here, so I'd probably do my box like this. I'd draw it like so. And with the bias to the upside. Because if it was going to head down, it should head down, right? But then give us another opportunity. Okay? If this hits resistance like this and then rolls over, you could take this trade, box it in below mid-band. But see, it's not taken the short as of yet, and it's not taking your long, but then you get ready to box it in again. Something like that. And then see your short out of that. So each time your box changes, you just move your box. And it's real easy to do that even in real time. You just simply have Object Trader turned on. And you can turn your box on and off just by simply hitting enter. Okay. All right. Let's see. Any final questions? Can you show how to put the box on a chart and set a trade with it? Absolutely. Let's go ahead and do that. And we're only going to take about maybe 5-6 more minutes. Okay. Bear with me a second. Go ahead and go over to the edge of the chart. Let me see if I've got data left. Just a minute. I've got market replay, but I think it's been playing for about an hour and a half. I'm not sure if I've got it. Where'd you go, market replay? Bear with me a second. I'm looking for it. And I guess it just doesn't want to show up. Where did you go, market replay? There's usually the little deal where I can turn it on and it's on pause. Bear with me a second. It's got to be here somewhere or I'll have to restart it. Give me a second and I'll just restart it. I'll kill all the charts, that way it'll load quickly. Because for some reason that particular little deal has disappeared. Here we go, it's coming back up. Okay, bear with it, it's loading now. Give it just a second and we'll wrap this up in just a minute. Okay, let's go ahead and box something in here. This is normal time right here that we're looking at right here. And let's just see what transpires. Now I see support right here, so I draw a line in my mind at least. Okay, and that's kind of breaking up above it, isn't it? So if that thrusts up and pulls back and holds that higher support level, then we could possibly be getting a trend change, right? Very possibly. Now to me, we're not changing trends actually till we take this out. But that doesn't mean that you can't also draw a trend line. We took this trade this morning, I'm pretty sure. See that trend line right there? Just let it play around a minute. I'll show you how to box it in above midband, if we get it. Use Object Trader here in just a minute. There we go. All right, now see this coming right around midband right here? Okay, and this is also getting really close to the market open. This is one of those trades that Charles likes to box in around midband because you do have a swing up here, so if they do break, they're liable to at least give you that. So you just simply turn on your region, hit insert. I would put this to where they'd have to take this out to head back down because that's a previous swing, and then I'd turn both of these on like a touch +2, do a couple of contracts or so, and box it in like that, and then just hit enter. Once you hit enter, the box is actually active. Now see, that's actually getting higher lows and higher highs right now, so, and it's broken your trend line too. Now you don't have to take it just when it breaks this. I want to show you how to box it in also the right way, because it'll more than likely do a little consolidation patch and let you have the opportunity to box it. And the tighter they get that, getting close to open. Remember, we took this trade in the room this morning because we had mentioned that we were going to trade the open of the market. And I like to have my little region drawn too so that I can get in it. Now this is pretty much showing you a little box, almost, isn't it? We've got support right down here. There's pretty much a little box right across there now. So you could actually get ready, and if I see a swing to the left a little lower like that, I'd probably turn it on like that. That's a little box right there. You could also, if you don't trust that, go ahead and wait for it to break this swing. Keep in mind you'd have to still put your stop underneath the swing. We'll see if we can get that even. This is where I'd like to box it though, especially close to the open of the market. That's what we always look for at the open of the market, is those mid-band. And what I'd probably do is like buy right here when it broke, and then I'd probably leave Object Trader on and buy some more. And I'd put this target like right here at the swing just in case. And of course you put your stop underneath this swing right here. But that's how you can box it in like that. Works out pretty well. Now if you like it more where it kind of thrusts up and does a little 1, 2, 3, you can do that also. Would you get short, Michael? Well, the one thing that I don't personally like to go against a lot of times on shorts, these stealth lines, you know, where that's really going green like right now, that's kind of telling us that they're really trying to change this. You're getting a high, a low, a higher low, and even a higher high. So this swing should hold. And I'd put that on exit on close. Felt a little heat on it though. See, there you go. Now, what if you missed that right there and you're thinking, oh my goodness, where's another opportunity to get in the trade? You got to wait for a little pullback, right? And there's your little pullback right there. You could even rebox it. Keep in mind, if you rebox it, let's just pretend we don't have anything. You know you're in a long trend now, right? Now that's chasing a trade pretty much, isn't it? But watch what I'm going to do to show you that it's not really going to be chasing a trade if it breaks, because I should have a little swing to tell me. Bear with me a second. I see a swing over here too. That's pretty much where it's going to bounce, looking to the left, trade the right. But anyway, see how this is doing? If we wait for this little breakout trade, this is more than likely going to be our swing if it doesn't go ahead and come down further, and we're going to know that in just a minute. And then you'll have lightning. Now keep in mind at the open, you don't really want to just jump in these phantoms, okay? Unless you can really draw like a little box. So far you haven't got a box because we haven't busted the top yet. So this is kind of hard to draw so far. Okay, came down a little lower, so let's bring our line down. Come down a little lower, so let's bring our line down. That looks like that's going to be the bounce right there to me. Thrust, retrace, and see, that's kind of identifying that little swing right there right now, isn't it? Basically. This is also a little swing across here, so you could readjust your box, like right across here, and see if you can get that. 8:37 in the morning, it's kind of doing a little retrace right now. See what it gives us. You got support right under here. So if this was to decide to break down, obviously you might get you a little trade to the downside, very possibly too. We'll see what it does here. We'll box it in just a second. I'd box it in right across here now, like so, still biased to the upside. There's a swing there that it just broke out from. I usually like to buy that and take some coin quickly, like at a swing, like so, because that's coming right down to our, where we broke out. See where it busted out right there? They're usually going to check it. And then truthfully, if it broke below the swing right here that it's just now testing, I would probably take a quick little short on that. That's sideways though, so you could trade either way. See how that bounced right there off the support? That's what they always do. When they break that quickly, they'll come back and check support. Notice that's why I just grabbed it real quick. And I'm going to put my stop right under here with a reversal if we don't happen to start heading up to this ellipse. And I've got a trend line I could draw. Pretty much breaking that already. I'm going to draw it right there even. That's right at an ellipse right there. There we go. We got something. And then I put that right there because this is still like even an uptrend right now, right? But I'd really want it actually, if I was going to go up on this, I would probably want it to do a little box. Let's take some coin and see if we can get another one. See, that's what we call a phantom trade right there, because it came down to line 2. See if we can come down again, because we already turned it off. This is resistance right here. They're going sideways, you can tell, so I'm going to change it to just scalping it. If it hits resistance, I'm going to short it. Oh, you little rat. That's what it did to me this morning when I did that. So you want to protect your coin, right? That's exactly what it did to me this morning. Remember, we had the line drawn in the chart, and it came right to where we wanted it, but it popped it. That's where I got that lousy fill, and I'll be darned if I didn't get almost as lousy again. But see where resistance was? Because that was support. And I definitely put my stop like right above here. That'd be like boxing it in. See if we can get this target. Target's actually going to be right through there now because it hadn't taken this out. This is scalping because what are you doing when you're in sideways motion like this? You're scalping. There's a little resistance area right there. Now with this sideways like this, I usually turn on like a 5 ticker. And we already got it, so we're good to go. But if you want to trade this also, if it takes this little swing out right across here, just go for like a 5 ticker. That would be boxing it in also. And that's kind of the way you do that. If it's sideways like this, obviously, you could tell what it's doing. See the midband went rose-colored. When it's rose-colored like that, that's telling you that we're going to more than likely get a trend change. Okay? See how that just busted up right there? We would have gotten 5 ticks. That's all we had to do is buy it right there. And by the way, low, high, higher, low. Isn't that what that is right now? So really, you're looking for very much so a trend change. And if I remember right, on crude oil, we got a monster nice move at inventory. Everybody see how you could trade that? That's the way we'd trade that. Now, if this was to short below this little line here, so I could act, whoa, I just did 6. It went below my line right here. See there? You can get a quick, that's boxing it in also, by the way. Comes down to support. Buy it again. Put my stop really, really tight because I don't trust it because it's going sideways. And that one may get me because it looks like it's going to come down to this ellipse right here. And if it does, it does. I'm not going to short it though. What we have to do to short, well, we did short it because we had that turned on. Let's kill that. Because what we'd want to do if this was going to truly go short would be what? We'd want it to do this. Come down a little bit, come back up and give us some little support areas or resistance areas. Now this looks like this is going to do this, and we drew this in the room this morning. Remember that? And I'll speed it up to 500 times because I just about bet you that when it broke that trend line, see there? What did oil do this morning? This was inventory right here. Everybody see how you can do that, boxing it in and everything? That was the oil inventory right there. Remember we called that trade right there? What a monster. And then what are you looking for when it comes back? You're looking for mid-band. And watch and see it come right down. Bounces. See how mid-band works? Takes it out a little bit. It's going to go a little deeper. Deep bar probe, still heading up. I'm doing 500 times, by the way. And could you see, for instance, like right now, if you weren't even in this trade like right now, could you see how you could box that? Like right across here? Now, I'd be looking only for long, so I'd be doing this and then just turn that on. Of course, we didn't turn it on. Sorry about that. We need to use the region. That's good enough. Just got to go above it. That's fine. And then turn it on. Let's see if we can get something. That's called boxing it in. biases to the upside, right now anyway. High or low. I'd probably even box it in right here now. See that little consolidation patch right there? If you want to wait for it to break that, that's fine too. 500 times as fast as I can get it. There we go. We got a trade again. Going to stop us out? Well, we got to put our stop underneath the swing. See the swing right there? Still okay. Everybody see why I moved that stop? You don't want to just get nicked out of a trade that you take. See, it broke the box and then it came all the way back down. It did not test my lightning. You got to at least give it that. If you don't give it that, they're going to wick you out of these trades right and left. Okay? All right. Thanks, everyone, for coming. I hope everybody got something out of it. And let's do it again tomorrow as far as in the real trading room. Joseph, I can let's meet together in the morning on that again after the room closes. That'd be okay? Actually, it's going to need to be a little bit later in the afternoon, actually. I'll get it in touch with you. All right. Thanks, everyone, for coming. Have a great evening. Hope you enjoy the indicators and use them the way we designed them. Good night, everyone.